So a lot of us end up getting to this point of making an art piece where we get like 90% done and then just don't do that last little, sometimes it's only like 15 minutes of work. Sometimes it's only 30 seconds of work to make it look finished and complete and intentional. So here we have this awesome painting that somebody started and then never finished. So I just want to show you using tracing paper some different ideas of how to make this look finished. And one thing that wouldn't take this artist very long would be just to finish the face and finish the eyes. So if we were to overlay using tracing paper, those eyes, you can already see that picture starting to kind of pop a little bit more. Something else to consider is finishing off the background. Now the background can be complex, it doesn't have to be. It could just be simply dropping a color in there. And if you like it to be white, then maybe using the material that you've been using, so like this artist has been using paint, to actually paint the background white. It seems silly, but it actually creates unity, makes the whole painting feel like it's intentional. Because if the artist paints this white, we kind of subconsciously pick up on that being painted white and that it's meant to be white rather than, they just kind of stopped. So here's let me flip that, have it backwards. Here's something like to consider, dropping in a color. So now all of a sudden it's starting to feel a little bit more complete, a little bit more unified, a little bit more intentional. So let's take these off for now. Back to the original. And then here's one more idea. You could do something a little bit more wild with the background. Consider getting creative, especially because this is a character from a show. There's a lot of pictures online of fan art, so how can you make your fan art more unique than what you would see online? So consider alternating your background, doing some sort of pattern, something with energy to kind of match the picture here. So again, this is like 80 to 90% done, just a little bit more work, and all of a sudden that drawing is really getting finished. Once you have your drawing or painting or your art piece kind of done, how you like it, I want you to consider how mounting it or putting it into like kind of a frame or a border can help finish it off too. So what you can do is take a piece of construction paper and start to play around with colors, laying this behind and seeing if you like, brown as a frame, maybe you like green as a frame. You'll notice that the color can change kind of the impact of the piece depending on the frame. So that's just as much a part of your art piece as the art piece itself in some respect. So once you pick a kind of a border that you want, go ahead and glue it down. And then hopefully if you have enough space, you could even glue down this artist statement doesn't go with this piece, but bear with me. You could glue down your artist statement underneath it if it fits. If not, just go ahead and turn in your artist statement with your art piece when you're done. So there we go. We went from a piece that looked like this to one with finishing touches, which wasn't that much. You can see it's just the eyes in the background and our artist statement and a border. And all of a sudden it kind of looks ready for display. So that's what I'd like you to do today. Try and do some finishing touches, your artist statement, and your border. All right, when you finish a display piece, I really want you to make an artist statement. So we don't do this all the time, but every so often when you make a display piece, you want to explain your artwork to your viewers because we have a lot of visitors that come through the school and they're not going to be able to read your mind. So this little sheet helps you kind of think of some ideas of what to write about your artwork because I know sometimes it's tricky, like I don't know what I want to say. So at the very minimum, you can describe your artwork. So for example, this person wrote their name, their class code, and their artist statement is, I don't know. That's not very helpful, is it? We don't know what their artwork would even look like. I don't have it right in front of me right now, but if you had to guess, you don't know what it looks like because they wrote, I don't know. So that's not a very good one. So at the very minimum, you can describe your artwork. So one thing is, they say, what does your artwork look like? What is the subject matter? What's the title if you have one? So this one, let's see, it's one step up. My art is made from oil pastels. It is pretty. So at least now we know it's a pretty picture made from oil pastels. but that's not a lot. I would encourage you to go next to the next two. So for one, how did you create it? So let's see, what's the next step up? My art is made from oil pastels. It is a sunset at Sutton's Bay, and it's pretty. I blended the colors using my finger. Ooh, so look at that. They described it a little bit more this time. What is it? It's a sunset at Sutton's Bay. So the last one just said it's made out of oil pastels. This time they're telling us what it is. And then they talked about how they blended the colors using their fingers. So that's how did they create it? They blended. All right, so you're starting to get an idea of what this artwork might look like. The next step up is, what is the big idea behind your artwork? So that could just be as simple as who or what inspired you. It could be expressing some personal or social issue. It could be showing emotions. So a big idea can be really anything that inspires you for your work. So let's take a look at the next step up. My art is made from oil pastels. It is a sunset at Sutton's Bay. It is pretty. I blended the colors using my finger. I wanted to do a sunset because it's one of my favorite things to do with my family in the summer. Boom! That's our big idea. Where is that big idea? Who or what inspired your artwork? So you're inspired by, the student was inspired by their memory with their family. So, got that. Okay, so this one that I just showed you, excellent. That's exactly what I want you to do. If you feel like overachieving and there's more you want to share, and you feel like there's just so much bouncing around in your brain, go one more step. The next step is, what were your goals for this project? And then overall, what are your thoughts about this artwork? So this is the final one. My art is made from blended oil pastels. It is a view of a sunset on Sutton's Bay. It is important to me because I always love watching the sunset with my family. My goal was to blend the colors better, and I did. Overall, I'm very happy with it. So, you want to see the artwork now? Voila! So there's the final art piece, and this would be the super stellar artist statement that would go along with that. So much better than I don't know. And then this artist at this point can do any finishing touches to their artwork and mount it onto like a frame, if you will. So put the artist statement underneath it. Beautiful. Glue those down and it's ready for display.